Creativity is an addiction. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity. Totally Uncut because we all make mistakes. So let's turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. Sometimes I think that lockdown made us all crazy. This binge watching thing, I have created such a bad habit with it. And yet, here's how I really feel. When my wife and I sit down to have lunch together, we binge watch a show. And it's not that we have to have the television on. It's just something that we can really relate with. Because during the lockdown, when the world felt like it was falling apart, the one thing that we had to create communication with were the shows that we were binge watching. And so it's become a part of our lifestyle to just have 30 minutes. And then we talk about the episode. We break it down. How could we have done it a little bit better? What would have been the twist here? Did they really need to put that cliffhanger there? Just having a conversation. Where does yours begin? Hey, it's Arroe. This is The Daily Mess, a chronological walk through an everyday world. I am a daily writer. I am a silent wolf. I'm watching life. I study it. I take a lot of notes, and we create conversations. This is The Daily Mess. When old feels new. When old feels new. It almost feels like a oxymoron, right? Every season of Scrubs has returned to the streaming networks. These old shows, they're not rocking my memories. In other words, I don't remember them. So they feel brand new to me. I shared this with Peter Biskin, a cultural critic and film historian. His new book, Pandora's Box, a brilliant book. It puts a lot of attention on how streaming is having a tough time right now trying to keep up with what they started. Talking to him about Scrubs and Orange is the New Black, and he simply replied, I am so sorry. Streaming companies have to fill in the voids and the blanks, and I have fallen right into that pit. I do wonder if my parents felt the same way when cable TV came into play and they were watching their old westerns and black and white cop shows. All of those shows, once experienced, were now on their TV set. Some of them were still black and white. A few were colorized. But they still had the old shows. And here's the strangest thing about it. With us streaming things like Scrubs and Orange is the New Black, does that mean that nobody is buying as many Blu-ray DVDs? Somebody is losing money. I'm guilty. Watching these old shows, and I had to do some research. Are people losing money because of these streaming platforms? And the answer is yes, they are. It was one of the things that was heavily talked about with the writer's strike and the actor's strike, because they're not making what they should be when it comes to protecting their own pockets as the entertainers of our life. How do we as the viewers learn to respect the actors and the writers, the directors and the producers even more? Now, I have to deal with this because when streaming hit radio, all of a sudden I had to give everything away for free. It didn't belong to me. And when I place it on a platform, they can do whatever they want with it, make as much money as they want, even though they are charging me to put me on their platform. You got to have a lot of magic and a lot of something to make that money. And musicians are going through it as well with the music. Streaming changed their entire platform because we all want music free. We all want podcast free. This is not a guilt trip. I'm just trying to understand the relationship and the connection of when things that are old feel new. Those that are ahead of streaming are playing with our emotions. They're giving to us what we think is free. But if you've looked at how much you're paying for that app every month, and now Disney is teaming up with Hulu, what's next? How are we going to create the new level of entertainment and the acceptance of what we're doing to the industry of all forms of entertainment? We think we're paying for it, but according to research, none of these streaming companies are making one penny. Somebody's making money. How do we have these shows and nobody is making money? Do we go back to the Blu-ray? What do we do in the future so that all the actors, all the directors and producers, everybody involved is making money? I'm Arroe, and that's The Daily Mess.